Hey everyone, welcome to another Monday, and this is Monday Momentum. Hey, listen, I don't know about you, I could use some momentum today. It was Easter over the weekend, and hey, I hope that you had an amazing Easter. We had beautiful weather. Oh my goodness, and it was so much fun. We had here at the church, we had a huge Easter egg hunt on Saturday, and we had at least 1,500 people. We stopped. Our clicker stopped at like 1350, and there were still people that were coming. So we figured at least 1,500 people were there, and the kids had a great time, and the weather was spectacular, and the Easter Bunny was riding in on a Harley, and it was just tons of fun. And then, hey, Sunday, we had three amazing services. If you were here or if you were somewhere else, what a great day to celebrate the resurrection. Again, on a warm, sunny day in April. What a blessing. It was just tremendous. I don't know about you, but I hung out with family afterwards. So we did three services here, and then we hosted at our house with family and friends and grandkids and some nieces and nephews. And we had a great time, but I will be honest. See, it's Monday. I'm a little tired today. Whew. Well, I exerted a lot of energy yesterday, and maybe you did too. So maybe we're all dragging just a little bit. So let's get some more momentum. The body may be weak, but we can still be strong spiritually. All right, the heart can still be good, and so let's just see if we can generate a little bit of spiritual momentum for the rest of the week. Hope you had a good Monday, and now you're looking forward to the rest of the week. So here you go. Let's jump back into our topic. And the topic has been all about transformation. It's a big topic because how does our life change? How does God change and transform our life? And there's things that He does, there's things that we do to cooperate with Him. And we've been looking at different pieces and parts of this big topic of transformation. Today, we look at a brand new piece. And for the next few weeks, we're going to be developing how faith is part of that process. So, faith is a requirement in our relationship with God, but faith is sometimes hard to define because it's a very abstract word. And so we're going to try to put some concrete understanding to it because it's really tough to chase something if you don't understand what it is. So we're talking about faith today. Hebrews 11:6 says it is impossible to please God without faith. That's a pretty big deal. So if it's impossible to please God without faith, then we probably ought to spend some time figuring faith out because it's the only way we're going to please Him. So let's get some understanding. Biblical faith is more than merely a belief or a positive thoughts about God or how a situation might turn out. Biblical faith is more than simply an intellectual agreement to the existence of God or the acknowledgement of His attributes. For example, you believe maybe that God is all powerful and He's all knowing and He's ever present. Okay, characteristics about God. He's loving, He's merciful, He's patient, all those things. And you're thinking, yep, I do. Or maybe you have very positive thoughts and feelings about a specific situation and how it's going to turn out. And that's fine too. But no, that's faith. And that might be surprising to some of you. That's not biblical faith. So, Hebrews 11, we're going to look at that a little bit. Hebrews 11, in verse 7, it says, "And it was by faith that Noah built a large boat to save his family from the flood. He obeyed God." Now, notice, here's what I want you to notice. Faith did something. Faith always does something. By faith, Noah built an ark. Now, the fun thing about Hebrews 11, you may know this, you may not know this. A lot of people call it, it's the faith chapter. The entire chapter is dedicated to faith and people who lived by faith. And so it's a list of, some people say, the heroes of faith, many of them in the Old Testament. And so it's one person after another, after another, after another. And it says things like, by faith, Noah built an ark. By faith, Abraham did this. By faith, Moses did this. By faith, Joshua did this. By faith, Gideon did this. By faith, David did this. Do you get the theme? Huh? You're starting to get the theme? Faith does. Faith's always doing something. The Bible never presents faith as something that's merely internal or cognitive alone. Faith includes these qualities, but it's not limited to them. You see, our Western world has, I believe, redefined faith as simply an agreement to doctrine. It's an agreement to a belief system. And this is why it doesn't transform people's lives. It's just simply a cognitive exercise, cognitive mental agreement. This is why so often people have made a decision, that's a phrase we use, made a decision to follow Christ. I mean, think about that. Even that phrase implies merely an intellectual process. I decided to follow Jesus. It's all intellectual, okay? It's all just a mental agreement. Yet their lives remain the same. They are not transformed. So why is that? We simply ask people to agree intellectually instead of by faith, okay, follow Jesus. Jesus invites us into something. He doesn't just invite us into faith. He doesn't just invite us into a mental agreement. He invites us into an experience. He invites us into an experience. And this is going to really be important for you to understand faith. Faith has to get out merely of your head and into the experience of your life. Now, let's keep understanding this, all right? Because some of you are going, what do you mean? No, we'll get there. Now, the book of James. Now we're going to jump to James. It goes into great length dealing with this issue. James 2, verse 17. He goes on and says, so you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it's dead and useless. Okay, so faith is going to do something. Faith is going to have another component to it. And he's going to talk about deeds. He's going to talk about actions. If something is dead and useless, how can it have any transformational power? How can it radically change the one who possesses it? So, in fact, faith not only changes your life, it's supposed to change the world. So, and I think that's why we have a lot of, like James says, it's dead and useless. I think there's a lot of dead faith in the church. I don't want here to be critical or judgmental, but it's just an observation. If you say you have faith and your life is the same, if you say you have faith and your life hasn't changed at all, then you have to ask yourself, well, do I have real faith or do I have a dead faith? Faith is supposed to change us. It's supposed to transform us. It produces things in our life. And so a faith that does nothing in us and through us, that's just not in the Bible. But yet it's everywhere in the Western understanding of Christianity. James goes on. James 2, 19 through 20. You say you have faith, for you believe that there is one God. Good for you, right? A little sarcasm in James here, right? Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish. Can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless? He says it again. This is useless, just to have an intellectual agreement to something. It makes you no different than the demonic realm. Again, I know it sounds kind of serious, but accepting simply a set of beliefs makes you no different than the demons, the fallen angels, Satan himself. Listen, they all believe in God. They all believe in Jesus. They all believe that Jesus is who he said he was, the Son of God, the creator of the universe in the flesh. They believe that Jesus died on a cross, and they believe that Jesus rose from the dead. There are no atheist demons, okay? No demons and atheists. They all believe. What makes them different than you? That's the point James is making. What makes them different? They all have an intellectual agreement to these things because they're true. And yet, obviously, their life isn't transformed. So, and again, if you look at some of the stories in the Gospels, all the demons Jesus encountered, they knew who Jesus was. I mean, Jesus was walking up to a demon-possessed man, and they would say, we know who you are. Don't torment us before the time. They knew. And yet it wasn't enough. Now, when our faith is allowed to work itself out into actions, into our experiences, our faith is made complete. Our faith transforms, and our faith transforms us. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Here's the last verses I'm going to use. James 2. Back to James. Now, do you remember that our ancestor Abraham, okay, Hebrews uses Abraham as an example, and now James is going to use Abraham as an example. Abraham was shown to be right with God by his actions when he offered Isaac, his son Isaac, on the altar. Now, here's the most important part. Don't miss this. Verse 22. You see, this example, his faith and actions worked together. There's the key. His faith and actions work together. You can't separate those two. It's kind of two parts of the same thing. All right? His actions made his faith complete. His actions made his faith complete. His actions and his faith, they work together, okay, in sync. Our faith is not made complete by how much we know. Not how many times you go to church, not how many Bible verses you can quote, not how well you know your Bible. Our faith is not made complete by how much we know. It is made complete by how much we live. The more we allow our faith to influence our actions, the more our faith grows, the more our life is transformed. And I'm going to stop right there because that's what I want you to think about. I want you to ask yourself, do you simply have an intellectual faith? Or do you have a faith that's literally changing your life, where you're allowing it to change you, to transform you, where it's altering your behavior, your actions, and you actually live differently because of your faith? You don't just believe something differently. There's something else. And so we're going to lead into that more next week and define that a little bit more and chase that a little bit more, all right? But right now, I just want you to think, what's making your faith different than even the fallen angels who just might, in fact, they just might believe certain things about Jesus more passionately than you do, because there's no doubt in their mind who he is and what he can actually do. Kind of fascinating, isn't it? This word faith is important. And so we're going to be growing in our understanding and our experience with faith. It's an exciting journey, and it's worth the momentum that we need to chase it. Lord bless you. Have a great week.